Have you ever felt that someone in your life, a friend, a colleague, a family member, or even your partner, always makes you feel small, guilty, or not good enough, even when you've done nothing wrong? They never truly apologize, even when it's obvious they were at fault. They never give you a genuine compliment, yet they have no problem praising themselves in front of others. They never admit when they've made a mistake. In fact, they often find a way to shift the blame onto you. If this sounds familiar, then chances are you've encountered a narcissist. Narcissists are not like ordinary people. They operate by a different set of rules, living in a world where they are always the center of attention, and everyone around them exists solely to reinforce their fragile but incredibly dangerous ego. But the key to identifying them isn't just in what they do, it's in what they never do. You will never see them give someone a compliment without a hidden agenda. You will never hear them offer a sincere apology because, in their mind, they are never wrong. You will never witness them showing true compassion or empathy simply because they are incapable of feeling it. In today's video, we're going to expose the things narcissists never do, why they can't do them, and, most importantly, how you can spot them early and protect yourself from their manipulation. Because here's the truth, narcissists don't change. You can't make them a better person, and you can't expect that one day they will start treating you differently. But what you can do is recognize them, understand how they operate, and learn how to shield yourself from the toxic cycle they create. If you've ever felt confused, hurt, or doubted yourself around someone like this, listen closely. What we're about to discuss might completely change the way you see them, and more importantly, the way you see yourself. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on content that helps you regain control over your life and mental well-being. And now, let's dive into today's topic, the things narcissists never do, and why. They never give genuine compliments. A narcissist never gives a sincere compliment. Not because you don't deserve it, but because, in their world, acknowledging someone else's value means diminishing their own. To them, life is a constant competition where there can only be one winner, and it has to be them. If they do compliment you, don't be so quick to believe it's genuine recognition. Their compliments often carry a hidden agenda, a subtle manipulation that you might not notice right away. They might say, "Oh, you did pretty well, but if you had done it my way, it would have been even better." Or, "Wow, you got promoted? Not bad, but I reached that level a long time ago." They may appear supportive, but in reality, they're reminding you that you're still not good enough, that your success is insignificant compared to theirs. When they can't outright deny your achievements, they'll find ways to downplay or overshadow them with their own accomplishments. If you enthusiastically share good news, they'll quickly shift the conversation back to themselves. If someone else praises you, they'll chime in with a story about their own superior achievements. And if they can't make you feel inferior, they'll simply ignore your success altogether, acting as if it's not even worth acknowledging. But the most dangerous tactic they use is withholding compliments as a form of control. They understand that people crave recognition, especially from those they care about or respect. By deliberately depriving you of it, they plant seeds of self-doubt, making you feel like you're never quite good enough. You might find yourself working harder, doing more, just to earn even a small sign of approval from them. But here's the hard truth. They will never give it to you sincerely. And while they refuse to praise you, they have no problem constantly praising themselves. They'll repeat their victories over and over as if they were the greatest achievements in history. They'll turn every conversation into a monologue about what they've done, who they know, and how successful they are. Spend enough time around them, and you'll realize they have no real interest in listening to or acknowledging anyone but themselves. But here's what you need to remember. You don't need their compliments to know your worth. Your success does not become any less meaningful just because they refuse to acknowledge it. The moment you recognize this and stop seeking their validation, you take away the most powerful weapon they use against you, your own self-doubt. They never apologize. A narcissist never apologizes, not because they never make mistakes, but because in their mind they are never wrong. Apologizing means taking responsibility, acknowledging that they have hurt someone. But that concept doesn't exist in their reality. To them, an apology is not a sign of maturity or respect, it's humiliation, a loss of power that they simply cannot accept. You could present them with undeniable proof, lay out their mistakes in the clearest way possible, but instead of owning up to it, they will react in the only way they know, denying, deflecting, and shifting the blame. They might get angry, lash out, or manipulate the situation so that you end up feeling like you are the one at fault. They will twist the narrative so much that you start doubting yourself, wondering if you're overreacting, and if you're waiting for a sincere apology, you'll be waiting forever. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry, I was wrong," they'll say, "I'm sorry if you feel that way." This isn't an admission of guilt, it's a way to suggest that the problem isn't their actions but your emotions. Or worse, they'll weaponize the apology, "Fine, I'm sorry, but you were wrong too." This kind of apology isn't about making things right, it's about invalidating your feelings and shifting the blame back onto you. They don't apologize to repair. They apologize to dismiss. And if they can't avoid the situation, they will do what they do best: rewrite the story. Somehow you'll find yourself trapped in a blame-shifting spiral where, even though you were the one who was hurt, you end up feeling like you need to apologize. Narcissists don't need to be right, they just need you to feel wrong. But here's what you need to understand. Any apology from a narcissist, if it happens at all, is never real. It doesn't come from genuine remorse. It comes from a need to continue controlling the situation. If they apologize, it's because they're trying to keep you around, maintain their power, or because they know that without doing so, they'll lose something more valuable: their reputation, their status, or their control over you. Waiting for an apology from them is a never-ending game. They will never give it to you, because to them, admitting fault is the same as losing. And to a narcissist, losing is unacceptable. But what you can do is stop expecting it. You don't need their apology to know that you deserve to be treated with kindness. You don't need their acknowledgement to validate that they were wrong. And when you stop waiting for fairness from someone who doesn't even understand what fairness is, you take back the power they've always tried to steal from you, your own. They never give up control. For a narcissist, everything revolves around power. Nothing terrifies them more than losing control. They don't just want to influence you, they want total control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions. And if you ever try to reclaim your autonomy, you will quickly realize a harsh truth. They will never allow that to happen. Make no mistake, they don't care about you in the way a loving person genuinely does. They don't want to see you happy, they don't want to help you grow, and they don't want to build a relationship based on mutual respect. What they want is someone they can manipulate, someone they can bend to their will, someone who exists to serve their needs. If you ever try to stand up for yourself, set boundaries, or say no to them, be prepared. They will react, and they will react strongly. It might be with explosive rage, or it might be with more calculated tactics. They may play the victim, making you feel guilty for daring to take back control of your own life. They may use silent treatment as a weapon, making you feel anxious, confused, and desperate to return to the normal state of things. And if none of that works, they may resort to threats, manipulation of those around you, or even fabricating stories to isolate you. Look at narcissistic divorces, custody battles, or any situation where they feel their control is threatened. They are willing to drag things out for years, spend tens of thousands of dollars, and hurt even those closest to them, just so they don't have to lose. They don't care about consequences. They don't care about the pain they inflict, because in their mind, the only thing that matters is winning. And even when you think you've escaped them, be careful. A narcissist doesn't let go easily. They may come back, pretending they've changed, acting remorseful, or trying to lure you back into their web of control. But once they have you in their grasp again, everything will go back to exactly how it was before. Only this time, they'll tighten their grip even more. So what can you do? First, understand that you cannot change them. They will not suddenly wake up one day and realize they were wrong. The only thing you can do is hold firm to your boundaries. Don't get drawn into their mind games. Don't let them use guilt or fear to control you. Don't let them blur reality with their justifications and manipulations. A narcissist will never give up control, but that doesn't mean you have to let them control you. Remember, the only power they have is the power you allow them to have. And once you take that back, there is nothing they can do to you anymore. They never forgive. When you make a mistake, you expect that time and sincerity will help erase it. You believe that if you take responsibility, if you try to make amends, if you prove that you've changed, others will forgive you. But with a narcissist, the usual rules of forgiveness don't apply. They don't forgive, not because you've done something unforgivable, but because holding grudges is part of their strategy. They will never let you forget your mistake. They will store it away like a hidden dagger, waiting for the right moment to pull it out and stab you with it. You may think the issue is over, that everything has been resolved, but one day, when you stand up to them, when you dare to challenge them, when you demand fairness, they will weaponize your past mistake against you. They will use it as undeniable proof that you are the problem, you are the one who isn't worthy. They don't forgive, not because they can't forget, but because they don't want to forget. They need to hold on to resentment as leverage, as a weapon that helps them control you. Forgiveness would strip them of their most powerful tool, the ability to make you feel guilty. If they forgive, they lose their advantage, their power, and the ability to keep you stuck in a cycle of constantly proving yourself, constantly making up for the past, constantly walking on eggshells just to avoid their wrath. But let me tell you a truth. You don't need their forgiveness. You don't have to live in fear that they will dig up the past and use it to destroy your self-worth. You don't have to endure a relationship where your mistakes are forever locked in their arsenal, ready to be thrown at you whenever they need control. True forgiveness is not something handed out as a privilege to keep others in debt. If someone refuses to let go of the past, if they only use your mistakes as a means of manipulation, then the problem isn't you, it's them. A narcissist may hold a grudge forever, but that doesn't mean you have to live in the prison of guilt they've built for you. Forgive yourself. Step away from their control and let them drown in their own bitterness, because you owe them nothing anymore. They never help without an ulterior motive. Have you ever met someone who always seems willing to help, yet every time they do, it feels like you've unknowingly signed an invisible contract? No paperwork, no fine print, but you know one thing for sure: you will have to pay for it later. If you've ever felt indebted to someone just because they helped you once, if you've been repeatedly reminded of a favor you never asked for, or if someone has ever made you feel guilty for not showing enough gratitude, chances are you've fallen into a narcissist's trap. Narcissists don't help out of kindness. They help because they expect something in return: admiration, control, or a future bargaining chip. They want you to owe them. They want you to feel obligated to repay them. They want you to always remember that without them, you would be nothing. And if you dare to forget, don't worry. They'll remind you, either subtly or aggressively, but you will remember. And here's the most interesting part. They never help without an audience. If they donate to charity, you'll see the pictures posted instantly on social media. If they do someone a favor, they will repeat the story dozens of times, ensuring everyone knows just how amazing and generous they are. To them, helping isn't about selflessness, it's about public relations. If no one is watching, if there's no praise to be gained, if there's no personal benefit, they won't lift a finger. But the scariest part isn't their constant need for recognition, it's how they use kindness as a chain to bind you. When a truly good person helps you, they don't expect anything in return beyond the satisfaction of seeing you do better. But a narcissist is different. To them, every favor is an investment, and they will collect on it Maybe not immediately, maybe months later, but eventually they'll come to cash in. They will remind you, after everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me. They will demand loyalty, obedience, or at the very least, endless gratitude. And what happens if you refuse their help? Brace yourself. They will make you feel guilty. They will act as if you've insulted them. They will paint you as ungrateful, selfish, and even disloyal. So, what can you do? Recognize and break the cycle. If someone constantly reminds you of what they've done for you, that's not kindness. It's a trap. If someone helps you but makes you feel indebted, that's not generosity, it's manipulation. You don't have to live with a sense of obligation just because someone did something for you. True kindness doesn't come with control. If someone genuinely cares about you, they won't keep score, they won't demand payback, and they won't use their favors as a weapon. So, next time someone offers help, ask yourself, are they truly helping me, or are they setting a trap I'll have to pay for later? If the answer isn't clear, take a step back. A narcissist may use kindness as a tool for control, but only if you allow them to. And when you recognize this, when you refuse to be manipulated, you take back the one thing they've always tried to steal from you, your freedom. They never treat others as equals. To a narcissist, the world is divided into two types of people, those beneath them and those who threaten them. There is no equality, no mutual respect, no space for relationships where both sides are valued for their unique qualities. In their mind, they must always be superior. They must be better. They must be the only one worthy of admiration. They cannot stand the idea of someone being smarter than them, more successful than them, or receiving more attention than them. If you achieve something worth celebrating, they will either downplay it or ignore it entirely as if it isn't even worth mentioning. If you express a strong opinion, they will immediately dismiss it. Not because they have a logical counterpoint, but simply because they cannot allow you to have a voice that carries the same weight as theirs. They don't argue to understand, they argue to dominate. But here's the irony. While they refuse to acknowledge others, they always surround themselves with people they can control. They don't want fair competition, they want a rigged game where they always win. They choose weaker individuals, those who are easy to manipulate, those who will praise them unquestioningly. And if they encounter someone they can't dominate, they have two choices: tear that person down or cut them out of their life entirely. You may have seen this before. A best friend of theirs suddenly disappears from their life, not because of a betrayal, but simply because they dared to succeed, dared to become more confident, dared to step out of their shadow. You may have even experienced it yourself, sharing an achievement, only to have them brush it off or quickly shift the conversation back to themselves. They cannot tolerate your success, because in their world only one person is allowed to shine, and that person has to be them. But here's what you need to remember. Your worth is not dependent on their recognition. You don't need their validation to know that you are talented, important, and valuable. They may never treat you as an equal, but that doesn't mean you are beneath them. What matters is that you never shrink yourself to fit their pettiness. If they can't accept you as someone of equal worth, let them sit alone with their fragile ego. And, as for you, keep moving forward. Strong, unapologetic, and without needing anyone's permission to shine. They never truly listen. Have you ever spoken to someone who, no matter how hard you try, never actually listens? You share a thought, a pain, or a joy, but the moment you finish speaking, they either seem distracted or immediately steer the conversation back to themselves. It feels like talking to a wall that responds but never really absorbs what you're saying. Welcome to the world of narcissists, where listening is not about understanding, but about taking over. Narcissists don't listen for one simple reason: they don't care. They don't care about your thoughts, your feelings, or your experiences. Every conversation is a stage. and they must be at the center of it. If you talk about something that makes you happy, they will quickly one-up you with something even bigger they have experienced. If you share a struggle, they will minimize it or make it about their suffering, as if your pain is nothing compared to what they've endured. And if you dare to criticize them, be prepared. They won't listen to understand. They will listen to attack, to manipulate, to twist the story until you're the one apologizing. But the worst part? They know how to listen when it benefits them, when they want to manipulate you, when they need to gather information to use against you later. They will listen very carefully. They will remember every detail, every weakness, every past wound you've ever trusted them with. But not to understand, not to empathize, only to use it against you later. One day, the things you said in sincerity will become weapons in their hands, and when that happens, you will understand what true betrayal feels like. You may have once hoped that if you spoke clearly enough, honestly enough, or deeply enough, they would finally listen. But the truth is, they never intended to listen in the first place, because to listen, they would have to acknowledge that something exists beyond themselves. They would have to recognize that you have value, that your story matters. But to them, you are just a supporting character in a world where they are the main event. So, what should you do? First, stop trying to make them understand you. You can't force a narcissist to care the way a normal person does. If they have never truly listened to you before, they won't suddenly change. Second, watch how they treat others. If they constantly interrupt, constantly overshadow people's stories, constantly manipulate conversations to keep the attention on themselves, this isn't just random thoughtlessness. This is how they operate. And most importantly, don't waste your voice on those who refuse to hear you. You deserve someone who truly listens, someone who values what you have to say. If someone makes you feel like your voice doesn't matter, walk away. You don't have to scream to be heard. And you don't have to shrink yourself to fit into the small space they leave for you in their world. Save your energy for those who appreciate you, because a narcissist never will. They are never kind when no one is watching. Have you ever met someone who always seems polite, considerate, and respectable when others are around? But the moment they're alone with you, they drop the mask and become a completely different person. They may flash a bright smile at strangers, speak sweetly to their superiors, but the second you're alone with them, their demeanor shifts, cold, contemptuous, even cruel. This is the true nature of a narcissist. Their kindness is merely a tool, not a genuine trait. They are not kind because they genuinely care about others. They are kind because they need others to believe they are good. Every act of sweetness, concern, or generosity has a purpose: to craft an image. They help not because they want to, but because they need people to see them helping. They say nice things, but only when it benefits them. If there's no audience, no reward attached to their actions, they won't spend a single second being kind. They understand that society judges people based on appearances, and they use that to their advantage. They play the role of the devoted friend, the perfect parent, the ideal partner, but only when there are witnesses. When the doors close, when the spotlight turns off, they no longer have a reason to maintain the act. And that's when you see their true face. And here's the most dangerous part. No one believes you. If you dare to speak out about their deception, you'll be labeled a liar, overly sensitive, or a troublemaker. They have perfected their image so well that the people around them, friends, family, colleagues, cannot fathom the idea that they are any different when no one is watching. You may have fallen into this trap before. You see them laughing and chatting with others, and you start questioning whether you imagined their cruelty. You see how adored they are, and you begin to doubt yourself, wondering if you're the one overreacting. But here's the truth you need to understand. A truly kind person is kind in all circumstances, not just when there's an audience. So what should you do? Do not be fooled by the good moments they display in public. Do not expect that one day when no one is looking they will suddenly treat you with genuine respect. If someone is only kind when others are watching, they are not kind. They are simply a skilled manipulator, and if you keep seeking their approval, If you keep hoping that one day they will treat you the way they treat others in front of a crowd, you will remain trapped in an endless cycle of disappointment. Remember, a narcissist may fool the world, but they cannot fool you forever. Once you see through their facade, once you recognize that their kindness is nothing more than a manipulation tactic, you take back control. And when that happens, they lose their greatest weapon, the ability to manipulate you with their fake moments of sweetness. They never share their true emotions. A narcissist never shares their true emotions because they lack the ability to experience them deeply like normal people do. They may mimic sadness, fake empathy, and display excitement when necessary, but it's all surface level. If you look closely, you'll see that they don't truly feel what they say they do. But don't be mistaken, they are not simply reserved or introverted. On the contrary, they are master manipulators of emotions, knowing exactly when to appear vulnerable, when to play the victim, and when to stir up the emotions of others. They can cry when they're caught doing something wrong, fake distress when they want forgiveness, or act outraged when they need to distract from their own faults. But if you pay attention, you'll notice everything they do serves a purpose. When you are struggling, they won't truly care. They might offer hollow advice or say things that sound right, but there will be no genuine understanding. If you try to share your pain, they will quickly overshadow it with a story about themselves. If you need empathy, they will turn it into an opportunity to talk about what they have been through, what they have suffered, and why they are the real victim. They don't want to understand you. They want you to cater to their emotions instead. But the most dangerous part is not just that they hide their own emotions. It's that they will make you feel like you are wrong for expressing yours. If you show hurt, they will say you're too sensitive. If you cry, they will make you feel weak. If you get angry at being mistreated, they will twist the story to make you believe you're overreacting. They cannot handle their own emotions, so they won't allow you to express yours either. So, what should you do? Don't expect that one day they will change and open up to you the way a normal person would. They don't hide their emotions because they're afraid or hurt. They don't share because they have no real connection to their own emotions. And, more importantly, don't let them make you feel wrong for having real feelings. You are not weak for caring. You are not too sensitive for being hurt. You are not wrong for feeling angry, sad, or disappointed. But you will be wrong if you let a narcissist convince you that you have no right to feel those things. Trust your instincts. If you feel that every time you open up you are manipulated, dismissed, or made to feel like your emotions don't matter, stop. Don't waste your genuine emotions on someone incapable of appreciating them. A narcissist can fake many things, but there is one thing they will never be able to do: form a sincere, authentic emotional connection with anyone. They never admit they're wrong. A narcissist is never wrong, at least not in their world. They can lie, manipulate, betray, and hurt others, but no matter how clear the evidence is, they will never take responsibility. To them, admitting a mistake means losing power, and that is something they will never accept. If you catch them lying, they won't apologize. They will attack. They will twist the story, distract from the issue, and distort reality to the point where you start doubting yourself. If they do something wrong, they will immediately shift the blame to you, to circumstances, to anything that allows them to avoid accountability. They will fabricate excuses, invent stories, and manipulate emotions to make you feel like the guilty one. To them, the truth doesn't matter. Winning does. They don't argue to understand, they argue to dominate. If you point out their mistakes, they won't respond with logic or reason. They will respond with personal attacks. They will dig up something you did years ago and use it as an excuse to dismiss everything you're saying. They will raise their voice, cut you off, twist your words, and leave you feeling completely disoriented. They don't need to be right, they just need to make you feel wrong. And if all else fails, they will use their most powerful weapon, playing the victim. They will pretend to be hurt, act like you're being unfair, and make it seem as if you are the one pushing them into a corner. They will make you feel guilty simply for asking for fairness. They might cry, walk away, or give you the silent treatment as a form of punishment. And suddenly, the conversation shifts from their mistake to your wrongdoing, because now you've hurt them. Here's what you need to understand. You cannot make a narcissist admit they were wrong. They will never sit down, look you in the eye and say, "I was wrong and I'm sorry." Not because they aren't capable of saying the words, but because they don't want to. Admitting fault means losing power, and to a narcissist, losing power is worse than death. So what should you do? Don't argue. You will never win a debate with a narcissist, not because you're wrong, but because they don't play by the rules. Don't expect fairness. They don't care about justice. They only care about protecting their fragile ego. And most importantly, don't let them manipulate you into doubting yourself. A narcissist can manipulate everything, but there is one thing they can never do: face the truth about themselves. They can run, twist reality, and shift the blame onto the entire world, but it won't change the fact that they are wrong. And if you stay clear-headed, if you remain strong enough not to fall into their trap, then they will lose the one thing they crave the most: control. They never show true empathy. A narcissist doesn't care about your emotions. They don't care if you're happy or sad, joyful or devastated, hurt or hopeless. The only thing they care about is how you react to them. Whether you praise them, whether you fulfill their needs, whether you make them the center of your world. Beyond that, nothing you feel truly matters to them. And if it doesn't matter, why would they bother? If you expect understanding from them, you will be disappointed. You could stand in front of them, tears streaming down your face, voice trembling, heart shattered, and their eyes would remain empty, not because they don't see your pain, but because they don't feel it the way a normal person does. Your suffering does not affect them, does not awaken any conscience in them, does not make them pause to consider the harm they've caused. To them, your pain is meaningless unless they can use it to their advantage. If you dare to express your emotions, they will dismiss them immediately. They will make you feel guilty for feeling sad. They will tell you that you're overreacting, that you're too weak, that you need to toughen up. But notice, those rules never apply to them. When they are angry, they expect you to listen. When they feel hurt, they demand that you fix it. When they feel disrespected, they will make sure the whole world knows they are the victim. They want you to care about their emotions, but they will never give you the same in return. And here's the most dangerous part. They are not just unfeeling, they know how to fake it. They know how to play the role of an empathetic person when it benefits them. They can listen, they can console, they can say exactly what you want to hear, as long as it serves their interests. But pay attention, that concern never lasts. The moment they no longer need you, the moment there's no one around to witness their act, the moment they have nothing left to gain from you, they will turn cold instantly. And that's when you'll realize that what you thought was empathy was nothing more than a manipulation tactic. They don't just ignore your emotions. They weaponize them. They listen, not to understand, but to remember. They remember what makes you hurt, what makes you vulnerable, what your greatest fears are, just so that one day, when they need to control you, they can use all of it against you. Have you ever cried over your fear of abandonment? They will use silent treatment to punish you. They will bring it up at the moment you're most defenseless. Have you ever shown weakness in front of them? They will exploit it to break you again and again. But what makes them truly dangerous is not just their lack of empathy, it's their ability to make you believe that you are wrong for expecting it. They will make you feel like you're too sensitive. They will convince you that you're asking for too much. They will make you doubt your own emotions until you start to believe that maybe they're right. Maybe you are too weak. Maybe you don't deserve to be cared for. But here's the truth. You are not wrong for wanting to be cared for. You are not wrong for needing someone to listen. You are not wrong for feeling hurt. The only mistake you're making is expecting those things from someone who is incapable of giving them to you. A narcissist can fake kindness, can put on a flawless act that convinces the whole world they are a good person. But when you truly need them, when you truly expect them to be there for you, when you truly long for just a little bit of genuine empathy, they won't be there. So what should you do? Stop expecting. They will not change. They will not wake up one day and suddenly become someone who cares. If they show empathy, it's not because they actually feel it, it's because they have something to gain. And most importantly, don't let them make you doubt the value of your emotions. You deserve someone who listens without having to pretend. You deserve someone who truly cares, not just when someone else is watching. You deserve someone who stands by your side even when there's nothing in it for them. And if someone cannot give you that, they don't deserve you. They never take responsibility. The narcissist never takes responsibility. They can hurt you, destroy things, manipulate others, but when the consequences come, when everything falls apart, you will never hear them say, "I was wrong." Not once, not ever. Because in their world, mistakes don't exist unless they belong to someone else. If they hurt you, they'll say, "You're too sensitive." If they lie, they'll say, "You misunderstood." If they betray you, they'll say, "You pushed me to do it." If their life is in chaos, they will find someone to blame. Parents, friends, co-workers, partners, even you. They are always the victim of circumstance. Always the one who is misunderstood. Always the one who isn't appreciated. Have you ever noticed that in every story they tell, they are always the one who is right? Every failure is someone else's fault. Every mistake they make has a perfectly good explanation. Every cruel thing they do was because they had no other choice. That's not a coincidence. That's who they are. But here's the cruelest part. They don't just refuse to take responsibility. They make you take it for them. If they hurt you, they will make you feel guilty for reacting. If they do something wrong, they will make you feel responsible for fixing it. They will twist the story, distort reality, and manipulate your emotions until you start asking yourself, "Did I do something wrong?" And the moment that happens, they win. So how do you break free from this cycle? Recognize that no one is responsible for their actions except them. No matter what they say, no matter who they blame, no matter how much they manipulate you, the truth remains unchanged. They are wrong because they are wrong. Not because of you, not because of the situation, not because of anyone or anything else, just them. And now you have a decision to make. Will you keep letting them place the blame on you? Or will you stand up and refuse to carry the weight of mistakes that were never yours to begin with? Narcissists never give genuine compliments. They never apologize. They never relinquish control. They never forgive. They never help selflessly. They never treat anyone as an equal. They never truly listen. They are never kind when no one is watching. They never share their real emotions. They never admit they're wrong. They never empathize. And they never take responsibility. So why do you keep putting up with them? You can't change them. You can't make them wake up. You can't make them love you the way a person who truly understands love would. But there's one thing you can do. You can realize that you don't need them. You don't need someone who only compliments you when there's something in it for them. You don't need someone who hurts you and never apologizes. You don't need someone who controls you just to satisfy their own ego. You don't need someone who lacks empathy, refuses responsibility, and doesn't know how to love you the way you deserve to be loved. You deserve respect. You deserve unconditional kindness. You deserve someone who truly listens. Someone who stands beside you, someone willing to take responsibility when they're wrong and face themselves honestly. And if someone can't give you that, then they don't deserve a place in your life. Thank you for watching this video. If it resonated with you, if it helped you see someone in your life more clearly, share your thoughts in the comments. Remember, you can't change a narcissist, but you can choose not to let them manipulate you anymore, and that choice, it's in your hands.